Hello, Cheetahs! Our Lady of the Lakes Catholic School is a Christ-centered educational community that is committed to the fullness of the gospel message.
We strive to develop each child's spiritual, academic, social, and physical potential.
Have you seen our Halloween doors?
Thank you to the parents that decorated them. We had Grandparents' Day on Friday, September 20th.
Yes, Grandparents' Day was a success.
Thank you to all the grandparents that came out to share this day with us. We know how special you are, and we are very blessed to have you in our lives.
What else has been going on?
Wednesday, September 25th, we recognize Dads Take Your Child to School Day. Many dads brought their kids and shared donuts with them.
This Florida Department of Education annual initiative serves to highlight and support how important father figures and their participation helps children be more successful in school.
National Junior Honor Society has begun their meetings. Here are this year's members.
8th graders: Adriana Argote, Christian Becerra, Felipe Caceres, Leila Candelario, Amanda Capuano, Mayudo Raspan, Gabriela Llanes, Emiliana Mejia, Monica Quiroz, Daniel Rodriguez, and Elica Quintero.
7th graders Micaela Delgado, Addison Lucas, Summer Lucas, and Alyssa Perez.
Congratulations to this year's Executive Board. President Elica Quintero, Vice President Leila Candelario, Secretary Alyssa Perez in 7th grade, and Treasurer Addison Lucas.
And JHS will be collecting diapers for this year's Respect Life Diaper campaign. Our goal is to collect 300 packs of diapers per class.
Bring in those diapers.
Chess Club and Glee Club have started. Make sure you know where you have to stay after school for your club.
Chess Club will be having their first competition on October 12th. We look forward to see how they do.
8th grade has read a very special book, The Red Umbrella. Let's find out more.
The Red Umbrella is a moving story of country, culture, family, and the true meaning of home.
The Red Umbrella is a tale of a 14-year-old girl journey from Cuba to America as part of Operation Federal Bag, an organized exodus of more than 14,000 children whose parents sent them away to escape Fidel Castro's revolution.
Lucia's parents makes the heart-wrenching decision to send her and her little brother to the United States on their own.
Suddenly plunked down in Nebraska with well-meaning strangers, Lucia struggles to adapt to a new country, a new language, and a new way of life. Will she ever see her home or her parents again? And if she does, will she ever be the same girl?
Our very own Miss Elsa Reyes was part of the Operación Perro Pan. She shared her experience with the 8th graders after they read The Red Umbrella by Cristina Gonzalez.
Hello Cheetahs, I'm Mia Burrow.
And I'm Victoria Leon.
And we're here today interviewing Elsa Reyes about her life story in Cuba.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsa Reus and I'm the Director of Community Relations for Our Lady of the Lakes School. I have been the director here for 21 years. The children wanted me to talk about my experience in Cuba. I left Cuba when I was very young. I left Cuba when the Peter Pan flight started with my brother, Luciano. And I know that you have some questions for me, right?
Yes. So our first question is, how old were you when this all started?
Okay, basically when the revolution started, I was 8 years old. That was in 1959. That was at New Year's Eve that Castro, paraded through the streets and revolution started. In 1961, when I was 10 years old, my mother was able to get a visa to have my brother, who was already almost 12 years old, leave Cuba with me. The reason that we rushed through this was because, number one, by then, I used to go to Our Lady of Lourdes school. It was a Catholic school, and the school was confiscated by the communists. So then following school year, the communist doctrine was going to begin. Then also the state said that all the children belonged to the state. They didn't belong to the parents. Therefore, if the state decided to send your child to Russia, you had no say. The child could go to Russia. And number three, there was a military age. In other words, if my brother would have been 14, then he could not leave Cuba if he was in a military age. That was the reason that 15,000 children were sent to the United States without their parents, because the Catholic Church, Monsignor Walsh, was able to get the visas to have all these children leave, but he didn't have visas for the parents. So the way it worked, we would come to the United States, and then we would claim our parents, and then our parents were able to leave. However, I was one of the ones that was blessed, because by 1960, my grandfather, my grandmother, my aunt, and my cousin had left Cuba. So when I arrived at the airport by myself, the ones that were here greeting me, of course, was the Catholic Church, but my grandfather was there and my grandmother, and they claimed me. And then that was on July 11th, 1961. I even brought the passport. I thought it would be a good idea for you to see. This is a passport that I was given, República de Cuba, when I left Cuba. I was 10 years old, and it says Elsa Maria Isla. Isla was my maiden name. And then it also shows here when I left, July 11th, 1961. You have any questions?
How was it leaving your parents?
Well, it was very hard. Number one, at the beginning, I didn't know. I thought I was coming on vacation. That's what I was told, to Miami. I wasn't given any detail or information that I was going to be living here. Because in reality, everybody that left Cuba at the beginning thought they were going to come back right away. Thought that things were not going to be as bad. So when I arrived here, and all of a sudden I see myself enrolled in Morningside Elementary, that was a public school in Biscayne, and it still exists to this day. I started there in 5th grade with Mrs. Crump, and I was there 5th grade and 6th grade. And then my parents arrived in February of 1962. And so my mom said, no, you have to go to Catholic school. So that's when I enrolled in 7th and 8th grade at St. Mary's Cathedral. And then I went to Notre Dame Academy. Anything else?
What was your first experience in America?
My first experience here was basically when I arrived, they gave me a gum, a piece of chiclet, a little box of chiclet. And then my first experience really that I remember very clearly was arriving for the first time at Morningside Elementary in a school that only 2 other students were Spanish. I was the only, everybody else was American. So I found myself not knowing English. That was not my best subject in school when I was in Cuba, and then having to learn. And so that was quite an experience. But believe me, by 4 or 5 months, I could right away talk to my students, to my friends, and I was able to pick it up very fast, very fast.
And what was your overall view of your experience?
Well, the overall view is that unfortunately we had to leave our country. Fortunately, the United States received us with open arms, and I will never go back to Cuba. Maybe someday I might go visit. I've never been back. It's been 58 years. But I think it's knowing that you have freedom, knowing that you're able to express anything you want to express. Know that you can, you have your faith, and you can worship, and you can, your faith. My faith is very important to me. And in Cuba, there was a time that they closed the churches, so nobody could even go to church. Now it's different, but back then you couldn't even, go to church. So it was very hard. But basically, it's just having freedom and being able to raise my family in this great country, which is the United States.
Thank you, Elsa, for answering our questions. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, Cheetahs!
Bye, Cheetahs.
Now's the time to turn in as many box tops as possible. The first deadline is here.
We also still have chocolates to sell. Let the office know if you would like to help us sell more.
8th grade has begun their high school visits.
We've already gone to visit St. Brendan and Archbishop McCarthy. We will be visiting Christopher Columbus and Our Lady of Lourdes High Schools on October 22nd.
School pictures went home this week. If you didn't order pictures, you should have received an envelope with ordering information.
If you were absent on picture day, the makeup day is November 5th.
Here are some additional school-wide dates. Mark your calendars.
October is the month of the Rosary. On October 10th, 6th grade will be leading us in the Living Rosary. You can bring your rosary to follow along.
October 14th is a teacher professional day, so there will be no school.
Don't forget to visit the Cheetah store. There are a lot of great things to buy to show your Cheetah spirit and beyond.
If you have any ideas you would like to put on the news, please let Ms. Pena know.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And always check Plus portals, emails, and messages from Miss Picasso to stay up to date on what's happening here at OLL.
Have a great week!